Hi guys, welcome back to another video, another strategy video. So today, if you don't know me, like I'm Isopa, I do educational Clash Royale videos, and today we're going to be taking a look at Hog Cycle against the popular tanks in the meta right now. In order, I'll be doing a review of this deck against Giant Lightning, Golem Lightning, and then Lava Lightning. So the deck that we're going to be taking a look at is right here. It's a Hog Rider, Archer, Fireball, Tombstone, Log, Mega Minion, Ice Golem, Ice Spirit deck. The only legendary here is the Log, and I can't. If you guys like try to ask for replacements for the Log, the thing about the Log in a Hog Rider deck in this meta right now is that it's kind of mandatory. You like really need the Log, just because there's so many Tombstones out there, and cards like Zap, cards like Arrows that would normally replace Log don't really get through Tombstone in the same way. But like this deck is, I've been playing it for a while now, and it's definitely an anti-meta deck. The only real weakness to this deck, I feel, is something around like RG Furnace, which I do have a replay of me winning against. It's a tougher matchup. But this deck does very well against Golem Lightning, does very well against Giant, which I'm going to show you, does very well against Lava, and does very well against other Hound decks, Hog Rider decks, because you have your own Tombstone. It's pretty solid. It's really fast. It has a 2.8 elixir average, so yeah. And also we've cracked 100k cards won in grand challenges, so that's pretty cool. If you guys want deck, and we'll be going into the first replay. So before we start too, I'm sorry about my previous video about the minor spellbait lightning. The thing about that one where it didn't allow you guys to watch it in certain countries was because I played music in the background music, and it was copyrighted. So it violated some laws, and then I had to take off the music, and then so this time there's no music in the background, just the Clash Royale music, but I'm just going to be talking until I find a track that doesn't violate copyright law. So against Giant Lightning, I would actually say that a well-played Giant Lightning, Bowler, Archers, Musketeer, etc. deck is very hard for this deck. Like probably behind RG, but still very difficult because of the fast. Compared to other tank decks, this deck is very fast. Giant only costs 5 elixir, and the Giant always requires this immediate response. But it's that you can definitely win it. So in my hand here, I start off with a Spirit Hog Rider, Mega Minion, Fireball. I'm actually like when you're playing this deck, you have a lot of ways for your Hog Rider to get around defense. If say they have a Tombstone, right? They play Tombstone typically. Like you drop Hog Rider here, they'll drop Tombstone here. You drop Hog Rider here, they'll drop Tombstone like that. And it's like it's pretty predictable. But when you're playing Hog Rider, you have to play Hog Rider smartly. Keeping tracks of their counters is how you're going to be winning with this deck consistently. If you drop Hog Rider in the beginning, it's more like you don't expect to do damage. You expect to have them show you their counters. Like they drop Hog Rider, they drop Tombstone, then you know next time when you drop Hog Rider, you can drop a predictive Log here. And then Hog Rider gets one hit on the Tombstone, the Log takes it out, and your Hog Rider gets to the top. So keeping in mind a lot of these counters is really important with this Hog deck. So I drop off the Ice Spear and the Hog Rider, goes to the tower. He actually doesn't have a response because he drops the Giant at the back. Only has enough for a Bowler. He has to place the Bowler inconveniently. By placing it over here, the Bowler effectively stays behind the Giant, but it essentially allows my Hog Rider to do like maybe get 2 extra swings off. If he had like, you know, he drops his giant back here, I drop my hog rider here. By the time my hog rider gets to the tower, he can drop bowler here, but the giant will most likely be still behind the bowler, so the bowler will die to the tower or die to whatever and make his push much weaker. So he makes the decision to play the bowler at the back, but the bowler at the back means that he takes more damage to his tower. I see this giant coming. I dropped the tombstone. The tombstone is actually very, very, very good right now. I would say the tombstone is probably the best defensive building in the game right now, ahead of Inferno with its many nerfs, definitely ahead of the Tesla and the Cannon. Tombstone is great right now because of its cheap cost, 3 elixir. It's probably the best spawner in the game too. Like, you know, most people will take Furnace. People will have Tombstone. The thing about the Tombstone is that it's 1 elixir less and it can cancel out Furnace. And it also creates skeletons. Skeletons live, fire spirits do not. It's extremely strong in defensive scenarios, and you'll see that throughout like all of these games. You'll see the Tombstone make quite a difference, or it can force out like opponent spells. So this is probably a push that you guys see a lot. Giant, Mega Minion, Bowler when they play Giant, Bowler, Lightning. Here, I think one of the best things you can do is this Giant is going to walk into this Tombstone. Most likely he doesn't have a direct answer for the Tombstone, not yet. So what I like to do here, when he drops like a Mega Minion like this, I like to take Ice Golem and Mega Minion, and I would drop Ice Golem here, drop Mega Minion here, and what happens is that the Ice Golem tanks almost everything, and then even when it dies, it will slow down the attack speed, it will slow down the movement speed of the other units. The Mega Minion gets time to effectively kill off the units behind it, and you get to clean up this push, like, pretty cheaply. But what's interesting here, okay, so he drops Musketeer. And the reason why I think he drops Musketeer here, which is because he took a lot of damage on this tower, for one, and he thinks that he's probably going to kill me off this one push. By dropping this 1 Musketeer, it doesn't look like much, but what he's essentially doing and what he's just telling me is that he's going all in. He's like saying, I'm going to kill you here or die trying. So I understand that almost immediately, and what you're going to see is that I fireball this right away. An interaction that you'll think, that I think is really cool is that Ice Golem, when it pops, it does about 70 death damage to whatever is around it. 70 death damage plus a fireball takes out a Musketeer, right? Because fireball zap takes out a Musketeer. So that was really efficient from me. This Tombstone is actually still alive. It keeps on building up the skeletons, just like we said that the Furnace does not do. The skeletons take out the Giant. Even when it pops, extra skeletons come out. I don't have to worry about the Giant unless he takes out the Tombstone right away. And then this Mega Minion cleans up the Bowler. And at the end of the day, look how we end up. I'm ahead. I have damage on his tower. And he's behind. He's shown me all of his cards now. I guess. You're going to see what I do next. I'm probably going to be picky pushing this Hog Rider, and every giant deck, like almost all these decks, have what do you call it? Have Tombstone nowadays. So you see this. I prep the log. After playing this deck many times, I've learned to prep the log and hold it like this, because I know that anybody who has a Tombstone will play Tombstone essentially like something. When a Hog Rider / Golem / Giant, it takes basically 1 hit plus log, will clear out the Tombstone, clear out the skeletons that come out, and then whatever you're using to push the tower goes through. So that's what I'm doing here. I know I'm ahead, so I'm getting my log ready. The log takes it out. Unfortunately, the bowler comes out, but I still get a hit. That's really good for me, and I take out a bowler. So it's like 8 elixir for my about 7 elixir, right? And I get a tower hit. But then I have to deal with a push. Push isn't scary at all because I have a tombstone. So the thing about, I think the archers are definitely one of the secret MVPs of this deck. When you play tombstone here, you most likely want to be playing archers over here because they're out of the way. They can shoot out the giant, and then once you have like this defensive like barrier around your tower, you can start thinking about taking out the cards from behind, which you're going to see me do. I'll be dropping archers, and then I'll probably be dropping the Ice Golem Mega Minion combo that we talked about before. The Mega Minion is actually able to do damage here, take out its units, safe. I make a little bit of mistake by dropping the Ice Spear, then it just die, but that's the only 1 elixir. So what you're about to see here is like, this is a very, very small move. Not small. How do I say it? It's a move that I know would have worked because I played this game so much. It's really micro intensive. And definitely something that I couldn't really explain to you why I felt it was good in game, but now that I look it back, I'm pretty sure I knew that these archers were going to do what they did. So you see me holding Fireball right now. He dropped some Musketeer here. Anybody would look at these archers and be like, okay, these archers are going to die. Can't really do anything with them because they're going to hit the tower. I know instinctively that 1 archer will die to the tower, right? 1 musketeer will walk up. My other archer right here that does not die to the tower will hit the musketeer 1 time. 1 time. And I know that 1 time is good enough for me to get the value of fireballing out the musketeer and the tower. You're going to see me do this. 1 hit, musketeer's gone. I do tower damage to him, which is really important. I take out his musketeer, so he has no push. And I was like, it's a move I can show you, but it's certainly something that you don't have to worry about. I think that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Don't worry about that move. It's something that should kind of build up to. You see me here, I do the same thing. I set up my defense almost exactly the same every single time. Against things like Giant, Golem, you'll see me drop Tombstone, you'll see me drop Archers. This Ice Golem is here because I never let my elixir bar hit over 10 for a very long time. So I start dropping cards. I'm making sure that this Ice Golem is still useful. I see all of these cards. I know that I'm ahead, so I just fireball it out. Same as before. I don't have to worry about it. He lightnings me, but he doesn't. He gets lightning damage on the tower, 2 archers, so I know that I can push here. I drop Ice Golem, I drop Hog Rider. I see the Tombstone. I'm not really worried about that. And we just go in. He drops a lot there to attack. Let's see. Oh, so this is, I think this is a really important point here. So a lot of you guys have this, want this ability to sort of, let's see, know where your opponent's elixir is, right? You guys want this ability to know exactly where you're at in the game. You want to count elixir, right? This notion of just counting elixir. I'm gonna show you how to know whether, like, when you're ahead and how much you're ahead by taking a look at the board. All of this you think of it as like a board, right? When the board is cleared, everything is set back to like 0. There's nothing on the board. But if you have something on the board, say like a musketeer back here, you essentially have 4 elixir on the board, and they don't have anything on the board. That 4 elixir might be taken out of your 10, and you're probably at 6 now, right? They're probably sitting at 10, but they don't have anything on the board. now that we have that kind of notion on the notion down, when you have units left over after a push, like they push into you, you have units left over, and then they have to overextend, over defend. You can kind of see where that difference is, where that difference of elixir is. And here, you guys remember that this mega minion that I have has been living for a long time, and that I get a lot of value here. So I'm at 4 elixir right now. I do this big push here. So I essentially put in 2, 4, right? So that's 6 elixir. This mega minion, don't really count it right now because it's part of the last push. But I'm investing 6. I have an extra 3 on the board that he has to react to. In total, this is 9 elixir getting sent at him. How much does he defend by, right? He places Tombstone. That's 3. He places Bowler. That is 5. That's 8. Then he drops Ice Spear. That's 9. To neutralize his push, it took 9 elixir. When all said and done. Right? So this difference, I'm not saying that like the difference between our elixir is 9. It's not 9. But what is the elixir that I put into the push? I put in about 6, right? Let's see. Ice Golem, Hog Rider. I don't touch my elixir after this, right? I let it go. This is the difference in our elixir. 8, 3. I put in 6 for this push, and I think this is our difference. After all is said and done, when he finishes defending, I know that I'm way ahead because I don't touch my elixir after. Everything that is gained after I place down that Ice Golem and that Hog Rider, I get back in value because he has to over defend that. And that's sort of how like I count elixir. I like flip it around, and if I'm sure that you've been in a position where your opponent forces you to over commit because you don't have the right cards in your hand, and then you're down all of this elixir and they haven't done anything. You go back in the replay and you look at it and you're like, okay, he's at 10. I'm at 2 because I had to drop like 2 different cards in order to get to my right card. That's basically what I did to him right there. And that's how I know where I am currently in the game. Game tape. No, we were ahead here. Where we fireballed him, then we got the elixir lead. Okay. Let's go back to watching. So you see me just keep dropping the same cards in the same order. That's how you want to defend against these land groups. Against Lava Hound, it is a little bit different. I play the Hog Rider when I have extra elixir. I fireball it because I know that he doesn't have enough to drop Tombstone. If he drops anything, the fireball will hit it. It looks really cool, but it's because he just kind of played into me. And then from here, the tower is down to fireball range, and then I just fireball him out after chilling, aiming it, you know. So I take the tower here. I know this is a really long video. Go off tangent. I feel it's worth talking about as much as possible, anything as much as possible. So in this matchup, we're going against a Golem. I think the addendum here is that his main cards are one level lower, like his Golem and his Mega Minion are one level lower. But overall, I think that I can still learn from this game. It is still Golem. It is still the strongest archetype in this meta at the moment. So I use Hog Rider. I see that he has a Tombstone. I play the Ice Spirit, but the Ice Spirit dies. It didn't matter whether it died or it lived. It only matters if if my mess up makes it so that you have a little mini push here in this deck when you play archers and ice golem. Surprisingly, they'll attack into you. You play arch, and then they walk up. If archers are alone, they just sort of die. If you have ice golem in front of it, you now have like this little mini push, and it's really cheap too. And it forces them to deal with this golem that is actually not that big of a deal because it does almost zero damage. But then you have to deal with these sort of high DPS archers behind it. I don't know, it's really cutesy. It's something small that you can definitely try out. And no good. I might just have to do these two videos. Yep, we're waiting for it to load, waiting for it to load. Hopefully this isn't just like my case. Yeah, I think this is where we were at. Okay, now we go back into it. He drops Golem. I drop Tombstone. The Tombstone brings it in. Mega Minion will take it out. Mega Minion will also sort of deal with the baby dragon. I drop Hog Rider. I drop the log because I know that he has Tombstone after first dropping the Hog Rider right in the beginning and seeing that he played Tombstone over here. I just assume that he'll probably be dropping Golem. Dropping a log like this preemptively, knowing that they have something like a Tombstone, is not bad. It's not that bad. Even if he doesn't play anything, the Hog Rider still gets to the tower, and it's only like a 2 elixir investment there. But something that I'll have you guys note right now about playing the Hog Rider into Golem matchup is that the Golem costs 8 elixir, right? They usually always play it when they're at 10. So 8, 10, 2 elixir. This means that as soon as you see a Golem dropped, you can probably do a pick push reliably and say like he drops Golem right here. That's 8 elixir. Now he has about 2. You drop Hog Rider here, right? You drop Hog Rider, Ice Spirit here. It jumps over. Now he's sitting at 3. One card that they will always play is the Tombstone. Knowing that, you know that you can log in this area, that the Hog Rider will jump, attack one time. If you time this correctly, will attack the Tombstone one time, then you log it, and then your Hog Rider is practically at full health, going straight for the tower, doing this fatal damage to this Golem player. One of my favorite moves in this matchup. Drops Mega Minion. I drop Tombstone. I have a... And he does something interesting here. So he drops Golem right at the bridge. Protected only by really a... Here, like... I don't really have Hog Rider in my hand. I could do a push right here, but I don't have any attacking unit. So I know that my priority is just placing archers here. I'll play the archers here. The archers will attack the golem safely while under the protection of all this like tank, and then I just split push on the side. He has no elixir because he drops the baby dragon on top of playing a golem before double elixir overtime, and that's his like big mistake here. Golem should not. I mean, if you're really good at the golem, really good, and you understand your limits, which are really narrow in the beginning, early. Typically golem should not be played before times 2 elixir. It costs too much. It needs too much extra backup elixir. You like think about it. You need a mega minion. You want baby dragon. You want lightning. You want zap. You want log. You want all this stuff with the golem in order. So most likely people will be getting ahead of you. Like he drops. All he did was just drop 4 elixir for a baby dragon, and he loses his right tower because he just doesn't have enough. Just like that, I take his tower down to 176. And I'm ahead in elixir because I traded so efficiently with that golem and got no damage on my tower. He drops tombstone. I think I just fireball it out. The tombstone is really annoying. I'd rather have my tombstone up. I could take a tower. I know that my elixir is very cheap. I can cycle back as much faster than this golem can. And from here, it's about you have 40 minutes of defending, making sure that a golem doesn't kill you with lightning. As you see, I'm just going to be dropping cards. I fireball out the mega minion, just making sure to use my elixir. You never see me hit above 10 and just sit at 10. As you see, as I talked about sort of in the beginning, the log is so integral to this deck. Why I say you can't really replace it. Having the ability to log out a tombstone like this, especially when it's the most used defensive card in the meta right now, the benefit to it is far too high. So we take down a golem, lightning user, and I think the last game will be going on to lava lightning. You know, the tombstone is definitely more. It's not as direct when it comes to defense against a lava hound, right? Unlike Tesla, unlike Inferno Tower, you don't just kind of place it here and then it kills off the lava hound for you. Tombstone is different in that it spawns skeletons that just are only land, and it basically acts as a distraction. But this deck definitely does well with Lava Hound because you have ways of splitting Lava Hound, and you definitely have more than enough anti-air with archers. You have archers, you have fireball, you have mega minion. You typically don't want to use fireball or on defense unless he has like this huge minion horde or even just like little tiny minions coming at you. And again, kind of video buffers. Sorry about this. I've been having some problems with this for a little bit, but it might just be on my end, my internet. Okay, sorry. So, taking a look at my hand, right? You have a few ways of opening up. You can open up. You can open up 2 ways. No, really, you can open up 3 ways here. You can open up with a solo Hog Rider, as we've been doing, in order to test out opening. But he already plays a Tombstone, so we kind of already learned what he has. You can open up with a combination of Ice Golem, Hog Rider, or you can open up with archers. I like the archer opening because it's just it isn't meant to do anything. It's just meant to cycle your cards and to have sort of pressure, because when you split your archers like the opening archers, you usually split them behind your tower. They go 1-1, and then you just watch for them, see what they play. Let's see what we do here. I drop Hog Rider. Goes to the Tombstone 1, 2. He plays additional minions. I don't really like that. I think he could have just let the Hog Rider trade, because that Tombstone was pretty far away. But he right here sends a miner. You have the option of fireballing all of this and then dealing with the miner, or you can deal with the miner and then have stuff to kill all of this. Here I drop archers, and then I drop Ice Golem. Ice Golem is extremely good at tanking, will kill skeletons on sight, and I know that because of my archers, they clean up. They can deal with the minions afterwards, after the slowdown effect. Tombstone. Oh, I forgot. Another thing about the Tombstone that's really good is that the Tombstone is easily one of the best safe openings in your hand. If you have Tombstone, it's definitely reliable. It's like having an elixir collector of old. You could just drop it. It's cheaper than elixir collector, and it will make you value over time because it stays on the map, and it acts as distraction, and it acts as defense. I drop Mega Minion here. I believe I split push the left side. Yep, I split push his left side. He lightnings for I don't really know what. I know that he has Tombstone. So we've been doing this all game. I think through every game that we've watched so far. You see me drop Hog Rider here. I piggy push, and I know that he has Tombstone that he played right in the beginning of the game. I hover log, and then I throw it out. I actually did that pretty well because the log was able to take out the Tombstone, allow the Hog Rider to get to the tower, and now I get like this really good damage. Hog Rider is one of those cards that after about 2 hits really makes up his value. 3 hits gets even more value. 4 hits, you're in dreamland. So I'm definitely ahead. I know I'm ahead in tempo. I know that he doesn't really have very many options outside of Tombstone for my Hog Rider, so I'm probably going to be looking for a field day. He drops the miner here. He's being really aggressive, so I counter pretty easily, and then I just push on him, knowing that he doesn't really have anything. He lightnings me again, but still takes 3 hog hits, 4 hog hits. Takes his tower down almost very low. When he uses lightning the way he does, there's not really much that he can do in terms of counterattacking, because defense with a lightning costs 6 elixir and he still takes damage. Overall, it's like really good for me. Really good for me, and you kind of see it here. I'm ahead 4 elixir. I have the tempo, I have the tower damage advantage. So from here, it's about keeping I still don't know he has Lava Hound. He hasn't ever played his Lava Hound once yet. I see the Lava Hound. I know where I'm kind of at. I know all I have to do is defend, because his left side will die in 2 fireballs. One fire, yeah, basically 2 fireballs. I dropped Hog Rider. Hog Rider is there kind of just to force elixir on the left side. He drops Miner and goes into this opposite lane. Normally, the reason why I drop Mega Minion here, which I normally wouldn't because I know that most Lava Hounds take lightning, but I dropped the Mega Minion in order to counter the Miner, because most miners will go over here to take out the archers. But instead he goes on the left side. I think the left side doesn't really do anything here. I'll probably just be dropping Ice Golem. Ice Golem tanks it up, and he lightnings me, but doesn't really get too much value here. And I know that I can keep putting pressure on him with the Hog Rider. So, you're probably asking me like, oh, why did you play Hog Rider here? Well, I saw a Mega Minion coming in. I have 1 archer. I know that normally 1 archer can actually take out the Mega Minion down to enough health that the tower can take it out, but didn't really matter. I just dropped Hog Rider. The Hog Rider will jump over, will absorb 1 hit. He didn't even get hit. He just gave enough time so the archer took out the mega minion. It's just fancy, like little fancy hog rider tricks. I fireball him out, and unless he won like right now, which he doesn't, which he can't really, there's no way for him to do 1,000 tower damage in 10 minutes from nothing. I just cycle back, play safely, fireball him out, and then we take the game. We abused our pressure. We played smartly, kept track of opponents, card rotations, and knew when to defend. If you want probably key points for this replay, I think it goes for you guys. I actually am in like a 10 win grand challenge right now, but I'm gonna do that for the stream. So thank you for watching. If you want more guides like these, just tell me below. If anything, I've been starting to play Giant Lightning. After a little bit, realizing that it's sort of actually pretty good. If you want a guide on that, I'll be compiling more replays. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed.